conditions and you are well appreciated. Last chapter we left off with Maki and Ogi fighting and Maki breaking Ogi's sword, but Ogi countered Maki's incoming attack afterwards and sliced her stomach, leaving Maki pretty damaged. That chapter was good, and 149 is pretty damn good if I say so myself. And without further ado, let's get into the video. It begins with Ogi talking about how Maki cut his blade and just that our distance shortened, but you stepped in too deep, and that's why you're a failure. And I'm a Jujutsu sorcerer, not a swordsman. A failure like you try to assess me using your standards. And as he says this, he's dragging Mai and Maki, his own daughters mind you, with the blood trail behind him. Once again, Ogi acknowledges his daughters as worthless, which we as the audience know they are definitely not worthless, but that's those old out of touch Zenine ways of thinking. People like Megami, Maki, and Mai hate and want to change. He says, I'll tell you again, I couldn't become the head of the clan because of you two. My older brother, he's referring to Nobito, curse technique was recently developed, whether coincidence or not, wasn't that much of a point of contention, and that I've never lagged behind my brother as a sorcerer except for one thing, my children and their capabilities. And children should never stand in the way of their parents. When he says this, he is basically saying, Nobito had the better child in Naoya since he developed Nobito's projection technique. Ogi then throws him in this room, which is used for training and punishing. But right before he did that, Mai says, don't you understand, dragging each other down is virtue in this country. And I tried looking up the meaning behind it in Japan, but from what I found, it's mainly that dragging each other down is in the same field of work as a common virtue in Japan. Now, I'm not saying that that is the gospel. I could be all the way wrong, but maybe it was just a saying for the reference in the Jujutsu world. But back to the chapter. Ogi says this room is filled with grade 2 curses or lower. It says that they're afraid of me now, but soon enough they'll come and eat you. Heavily restriction, physically gifted, so what? If we sorcerers train with an enhanced curse energy body, Maki, any sorcerer has your power. Which in reality he's not exactly wrong in terms of her abilities. We've seen this with Yuji, Todo, and Toji, but all of them are grade 1 sorcerers or higher, and that's what makes them special. And he walks away saying, farewell to staying in my life. And down in the training room, Mai checks Maki's heartbeat and says, I knew this was going to happen. This is the worst. As she kisses Maki and sends some of her cursed energy into Maki. And the scene changes to Mai and Maki on the beach. You get the general gist of my curse technique, right? But I can't make large or complex things. I also have the wound from when he cut me. If I create this, I'm gonna die. See you, you're on your own now. Maki's yelling to Mai to wait, don't go. Maki says, what do you mean anyways? Come back. Mai says, I had to figure it out quite a long time ago. The reason why twins are a bad omen for sorcerers. To gain something, you have to sacrifice something. This isn't just limited to the binding vow. It's the same principle as getting stronger through painful experiences. But that's not the case for twins, because monozygotic twins are considered one individual in the Jujutsu world. You get me? Me and I am you. And I just want to say, like, that's kind of I like how he kind of tackles that, because that is kind of in a weird way how it works in the real world. Because if you ever stumble upon someone who is twins, like twin sisters, twin brothers, and let's just say they're athletes, they're basketball players, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be looked at the same, and they're going to be looked at as, if one is better than the other one is kind of forgotten about immediately. And the best way I can compare that would be like, if you ever seen the NBA, be like Marcus Morris or Markieff Morris, those two, they view them as they view them as the same. They're 2 and 1, even though they're on 2 completely different teams. They play 2 different positions, kind of. They're always viewed as, they're as one. Mai says, even if you give it your absolute best to become stronger, it's useless. But I have no intention to become stronger. I can use a curse technique, but you can't, so there's no point. That means as long as I'm around, Maki, you'll always be half-assed. And Maki's running to Mai saying, okay, I get it, come back. Mai says, I'll just leave you with this, abandoning everything else. I'll take everything with me, including the cursed energy. But promise me one thing, please destroy everything. And the scene kind of turns with them when they were younger, similar to when back at the Goodwill event, they were talking about holding Maki's hand and she said, don't let go. In this one, she's literally in her own way letting go by saying this. And she says, and I mean everything, big sis. And she gives her a new blade which looks pretty cool. And the blade, in the scene that they're showing, it looks like the same blade that Toji used against Gojo and Geto in the beginning. So that's pretty interesting. I wonder if it's like any reasoning behind this specific sword, or is it kind of just coincidence? He pleads for Mai to wake up, but clearly she's already dead. She's not moving. Then the grade 2 curses come in and they're starting to attack. And then we turn into Ogi, and he senses the curses are all gone. They're vanished. And he says, my body still remembers that feeling that I tried to forget. And the presence was a feeling similar to the GOAT, Toji Fushiguro. And I love this parallel with the panel, because the weapon that Mai created for Maki is, I think it is in fact the same sword that Toji had back when he fought Geto and Gojo. And I think it's dope because, they are in similar situations. He got out when Toji got out of Geto's curse. Maki just fought off all those other curses. That's just fire. And Ogi is visibly shook, caught off guard, scared, whatever word you want to use from this feeling, and does this release curse technique strong flame and yells, all right, I shall once again burn you to the core. Come, you failure. And as soon as he yells this, Maki slices Ogi's face in half, looking as confident and badass as she's ever been. And we then see some greatly drawn birds. They look like swans, I think they are. And Maki says, Mai, let's start. Referring to when Mai said, let's destroy everything. And that was a beautiful ending to this great chapter. The imagery with the birds symbolizing Maki spreading her wings was impactful for her character, and I never thought of Mai holding back Maki emotionally or her potential. I thought that was actually a way for her to become stronger, but this was actually pretty much better. And her wanting to now destroy the Zenin clan instead of being about just simply being the head of it means a lot more, because that's a real change to the clan in the Jujutsu world. The Maki Toji parallels in terms of strength I always loved. See, the Toji panel with her was absolutely amazing. Now, in terms of strength, I don't think she's clearly the strength of Toji. I think this is more so like she has, let's just say, Toji's presence, if I want to word that, because I don't see her being Toji's level that quickly. I think it's more so like gradually she's getting there, and she's starting off with having Toji's presence of, she just feels different compared to everybody else. And after, the moment with her and Mai and her father, I'm looking forward to really two things after this. One, everyone's reaction to Oji's death, including Aoi and Junichi, because hopefully that will shut them up with calling Maki trash. But knowing those two, they'll probably just call Ogi weak. And also, I want to see the sorcerer side of things whenever that news, gets to them. And second, Maki's mind state after this. I wonder how this moment is going to affect her mental state going forward. Hopefully, she's not too depressed for, Mai's passing, which if she is, it makes total sense. So hopefully, her mental state is at least still healthy after this. JJK has been consistently fire. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you do so, leave a like, comment, all that other YouTube stuff, and I'll holla at y'all in the next one. What's good, y'all? And today we have a chapter 149 review for Jujutsu Kaisen. I'd like to give a shout out to TCBScans. You guys work hard with your translations. And
new op pack in the air, this gas or what? He'll still be alive right now if you niggas ain't gas him up.